blessings, love, everybody. What's up? Feeling better today. I'm back out and about, so I'm gonna jump in and do this meditation with you all today. Before we get started, well, we're on the road now, so we won't. Hey, greetings, blessings. Hey, peace. Yes, so I'm on the way to work, on the way to do some things with one of our businesses. But I wanted to share some stuff too, because it was interesting to me, just thinking about this process. Hey, thanks for being here, guys. For wondering like what to get back to this. So I'm a prosperity coach. I do work with people to help build up their lives in a way to open to the most success that's possible. And then, I spent a long time off of social media, kind of doing, working on things privately, and then circled back into the light here, into the public eye. And for a long time I didn't come back out because I was wondering, where do I begin? I have different angles. I've written books on things like emotional health, on physical health, on financial prosperity, and what angle do I step back out into the world with? Because my angle now, from all the things that I've done, and especially the time that I took off to work on myself and to build my life, I spent that time building up my own prosperity and working on those kind of things. And then circling back around, you come to find out that when you're going and, you're building prosperity and you're doing these different things, like prosperity isn't just made of money. It's not just made of finances. It's really about like this whole life, about living this reality that's like where you're empowered, where your spiritual reality is full for like whatever that looks like for you, whatever that means to you, that you're living it in its fullness, that whatever aspects of your life have the most value to you, that you have access to those things, that you have the power to bring those things into your reality. Like the thing that causes people trauma, like just by definition, trauma is about like a lack of power. It's about having your power taken away from you in certain situations in life, whether somebody has like invaded your personal space and taken something from you, or like by whatever means something has been taken from you, and you didn't feel like you were able to fix that or to resolve that or to do anything about it. And that lack of power translates into trauma. Like, we're supposed to feel and be empowered beings. So real prosperity is about developing personal power. It's about developing your ability to have literally whatever in your life matters to you, whatever is called for you to be who you want to be, and so all of that winds all the way back to, after all of that work, like all of that winds back to, sorry, I'm going into a garage now. All of that winds back into the heart space. Like literally everything comes back to the heart space, and setting the intention of who it is that you want to be for yourself, feeling inside yourself and seeing what it is that you want out of life. And sometimes we need to reassess that, and especially after we've experienced trauma, after we've lost somebody that we love, after we've built a life and then lost it again, after we've done certain things and it changes, and sometimes we lose our sense of self, we lose our sense of value in ourselves, and don't think that we have any worth because we felt like we weren't powerful enough to save the person who we love. We weren't powerful enough to keep our family from losing our home. We weren't powerful enough to stop ourselves from being attacked. And those situations change how we feel about ourselves. It changes our perspective. It changes our heart and how we see. Okay. What, say? Okay. Say. Good morning. Hey.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
My love. And it changes how we feel about ourselves, and that affects that like change in our heart space affects how we come out into the world, how we live in the world, you know, the kind of things that we do, and it shifts that, you know. And so when we're, oops, what's the matter? Okay, so we just gotta roll with what's here.
Yeah.
And work it out.
Right.
We are rolling with us here and we're working it out. That's going to be the theme of today. So, yeah. So.
Stay here then.
Okay. I'll stay here for a second. I'll be right up. So, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, sorry. We just realized that we totally forgot to bring our supplies to what we had to get done today. So anyway, but it's really important to all the time in life to circle back into the heart space and to realize who and what we are and who and what we want to bring to ourselves first. And once we have redefined that, and that definition can happen, like that can happen daily, that can happen every week, that can, you know, change over a month, it can change after one negative experience has taught us to reassess our reality. It can like there's no timeline for that, but learning how to constantly go back into our heart space and to feel this space here and to connect with it and to know like what it is that we want to be for ourselves, and then reassessing what do we want to bring to the world, is like a practice that's really important to develop. And what I'm discovering on the journey of prosperity for myself is that going back into the heart space is actually the foundation of prosperity. You know, when your heart is broken, you can't build wealth. Because wealth isn't just about finances. Like wealth isn't just about how much cash you have in the bank. Wealth is about having deep friendships, like deep loving connections, about having people around you who support you and encourage you, people who see you and who value you, people who recognize what it is that you came to the world to bring and who want to support you in that, who love you for that. It's about again, back to the power. It's about having the power. Like if you want something in your life, like say you live in an apartment in New Jersey and you want to live on the beach in California, and your ability to make that a reality completely depends on you believing in your own power to actually make that happen. If your deep-seated sense of self says that I don't have the power to make that happen, you won't even consider, you won't even open to the things that are necessary to transition your reality. So without a clear sense of your own heart space, you can't become prosperous. Like you cannot become wealthy. So as a success coach, as a wealth coach, bringing people back around to like these things, like, you know, I talk to people about, you know, finances and you know, building their own businesses and developing, you know, getting business credit and things like that. But deeper under all of those things, like those things are just, we can all run through the steps that take us to wealth. We can all do them. They're literally like a dozen steps that if you follow the dozen steps, you will literally take yourself to cash. But the stops along the way of doing those steps are our own sense of belief, our own sense of purpose of what it is that we want to be and want to do. I've worked with some people who have like started this prosperity journey and started doing the spiritual tools of the prosperity journey. And in the spiritual tools, they discover, like, so I've worked with people who are like, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, I want $1 million. And then they start doing this prosperity work, and the desire for the $1 million falls away. And they're like, actually, I don't want $1 million. I want like literally 50 grand a year, and I want to be happy with my kid and my husband. And So, but getting into the space of what it is we want, because for some people that's wealth. For some people, family is wealth. For some people, their friendships are wealth. For some people, their relationship to their partner is their wealth. For some people, money is their wealth. For some people, travel, like a certain type of lifestyle is their wealth. We define what wealth is to us, and we're so used to having that defined by beings outside of us, by the media's constantly pushing on us this concept of what wealth is supposed to look like, that a lot of times we just assume that that's what wealth is supposed to be, and so we start chasing that, and then at some point have to come back and realize, circle back around and realize, like, that isn't what even wealth was for me. Like, I don't care about this stuff. Some people are chasing the bag, and meanwhile having great health was everything they wanted. Or some people are chasing the bag and they get the bag, but then they also get cancer, and they also get like other issues, and it's about tapping into whatever is wealth to you. But we can't find that space without coming back in here. Literally, all of the days. So we're on day 22 of this not prosperity meditation, of the heart detox meditation, and it has done a lot, even for me, because I meditate every day, and I connect with my ancestors. I do my spirit work every day. And even stepping in to do this challenge, to do this 28-day challenge, has actually opened and shifted certain things inside of me for what it is that I want, and we're at a turn of the year, we're at a turn of the cycle, we're in the collective unconscious, we're calling it a new cycle. We're all agreeing on this as a new cycle. So regardless of whenever people think the new year, begins, we're collectively agreeing on a new cycle. And that's a new cycle is always a perfect time to start to set intentions of what you want the cycle ahead to look like. Just like the moon cycles, the new moon, that's your time to set your intentions for what you want the whole moon cycle to look like, and to bring the flow of that energy. While the moon's energy is low, and the moon's the magnetic frequency of the moon isn't pulling at us and pulling our energies up in its own direction, like how it pulls the tides. When the moon's energy is low and the moon is new, we have the most control over our own frequency at that point, because the moon is not taking us over with its own frequency and pulling our emotions up into whatever direction and fullness that the moon has. And in that quiet, that's the place where we can set our intentions, where we can look at our real selves and set our intention for what it is that we want for the cycle ahead. And in the same way, this new year, one of the reasons, I know a lot of people, especially like in the, conscious circles and things like that, are like, new, the real year starts in spring, and then, it's about springtime, and this is ridiculous, and it's, this European thing to put it as, the in the middle of the winter. And I used to believe that also, but I realized that it was extremely strategic, and it wasn't just, belonging to one culture to shift the new year to this time of year. Getting in alignment with Wajet and understanding the cycles of the solstice and the cycles of the equinoxes, and this time, the new year, this is just like the time of the new moon. This is the time when the energy of the earth is at its quietest, it's at its lowest, and this is the time for us to actually see and feel and be our real authentic selves. There's no magnetic pull. The planetary energies are at their most quiet in the dark of winter in this time. So this is about us not feeling pulled in different directions by planetary frequencies and moon cycles and things outside of ourselves. This is, and the solar cycle, this is the quietest time of the solar cycle. This is the time for the solar cycle to be back, to be pressed back, and for us to be sitting with ourselves and saying, like, without being pulled in any direction, who are you? Who are you, and what do you represent? What is your purpose? What are you here for? And in that quiet and silence and darkness and solitude, you can actually breathe and think and hear yourself and actually discover who it is that you want to be for the cycle ahead. So the New Year's cycle is actually, I'm saying this specifically to all the people who rebel against the New Year. I'm saying specifically, this is when we tap back into the earth grid and the earth cycles, you will actually come to recognize this as a cycle that is perfect for the setting of intentions. There is a reason why the New Year cycles are about setting intentions, why we have all the whole New Year resolutions and all that stuff. It's the quiet time, just like the new moon. It's the quiet time. This is the new moon of the sun. It's that quiet time to set your intentions and to decide what it is that you want to carry into the cycle ahead. And in deciding what you want to carry into the cycle ahead, you have to recognize what it is that you want to shed, what you want to release, what no longer serves you, and what it is that you want to reach for. So when, like this, just like the plants come up in the springtime, this is your quiet time to figure out what is it that you want to, when we burst up through the soil and go up into the sunlight, what self is it that you want to emerge with? What self do you want to bring into the sun for this year ahead? And the important thing to really recognize that is to go back into the heart space. It's so important to go back there. That's where your resonant frequency is. That's where your electromagnetic guidance system is, sitting there and telling you this is where you want to be. This is what you want to be. If you don't want to be in the apartment in New Jersey and you want to be on a beach mansion in California, then this is the time to say, without losing a sense of, without and tap into that. And whatever it is, and it's just random examples, like whatever it is, my personal intentions, like for me, what this heart meditation has brought up for me, because I have a really happy and beautiful life, and I work hard for the life that I have, and what I realize that I want out of life ahead is not to work as hard. I was programmed for all of my life. I was programmed by my parents and their middle class beliefs that you have to work in order to make money. That's just a belief. No, you do not have to work in order to make money. That's a belief. And it's a commonly pushed and pressed belief that everybody believes in, but you do not have to work to make money. And not only work, but you have to work hard. The fact that we say money, that you have to earn money, just using that language, like how much do you earn? Money isn't something you earn. Money is something you magnetize to you. But if your heart space is damaged by lack of belief, by trauma, by things that, by you not believing in yourself, by you being programmed with old mindsets from this, old working class and old middle class paradigm, if you believe those things, then your heart is not going to resonate at a frequency that attracts money to you. It's going to vibrate at a frequency of exactly whatever you believe. So if you believe you have to earn money, like earning money is like saying you have to earn breath or earn food, earn life, like all of those things, you have a right. If you came here, you have a right to exist here. And your right to exist here includes every single thing that you want in your space that will bring you joy. That includes that. So you don't have to earn anything. And I spent so many years so blocked and so heartbroken because my worth, I always felt like, well, it didn't resonate to me. Like, why do I feel like I'm on earth? Hey, greetings, blessings. My right to be on earth. And I felt like, well, I have a right to be here. Like, I exist here. I exist here. I exist in a space of love. I love the beings around me. I am the best person I can be every day. So I have a right to be here. Why do I have to struggle to be allowed to live? And it was like this dissonance in me. But what happened was I had to discover that it was the old programming, the old middle class programming that was downloaded into me to make me believe that money is something that you have to earn. You don't have to earn money. You give yourself in exchange for something that you want in return. And in the cycles of being around people who love you and support you and care about you and nurture you, that's going to happen automatically. So you don't have to step into a space thinking like, oh, well, I'm going to give of myself and I should get this back. That's already taken care of. It has already been handled just by you showing up. And the more real and authentic that you show up as, the more that you get back in return. The more your heart space resonates with the frequency of who you came to be, the more that happens for you. So you can chase money and you can try to get money. You can chase health and you can try to get health. You can chase friendships and relationships and you can try to get them. There's hundreds of books out there. Oh, how to win friends and influence people, how to hold your body language, how to put your face expressions, how to, and you can read to death to figure out how to make people like you, how to win friends and influence people. Like you can read and learn all of that stuff and you can go through the motions of those things. Or you can show up as your fully present, authentic self, and all of those things are going to come to you automatically. And the means that they come to you are going to be through ways that you couldn't have even imagined with your mind. If you had to pencil it all out and write it all down and figure it all out, there wouldn't be enough time in existence for you to figure out all of the ways, to map out all of the ways that it would come to you. Your only job is to clear this here and allow. Once this is clear and this is not resonating from a space of dissonance and it's resonating from a space of harmony, all of the things that you wanted already are going to come to you. I'm literally living proof of this. I went from difficult relationships. I had a decade of painful, toxic relationships that I was trying to force because I was like, oh, I'm a conscious Black woman and this is the type of person I'm supposed to be with, and this is what it is right for me, and I'm supposed to have this, and this is the things I'm supposed to do, and the old programming of money, I'm supposed to do this, and I have to work hard to get this, and all of that programming was all in me. I'm a mom, and I'm supposed to take care of my children like this. The person that I was before I became a mom, I was, I was a punk rocker, and I was a raver, and I was, I never looked in the typical society, like the way that society wanted me to look. And when I became a mother, I was so scared and in so much doubt of my own ability to mother my children correctly that I went straight into from a place of fear. I reverted back into being a type of person, to zipping myself back into this suit that didn't fit me, this suit of what I thought motherhood was supposed to look like. You're supposed to, if you want to raise your children well, you're supposed to, raise them in the suburbs and give them lots of money and have them, have choices and give them lots of opportunities, and you're supposed to this and supposed to that. And I completely changed myself into who I thought I was supposed to be a mother. And it wasn't me. So I was constantly struggling as a single mother, trying to vibrate in this way of not being my actual self. And you can make do. You will be able to get by, especially if you have a strong will and you push very hard. You will be able to get by being who you are not supposed to be, and you can make some people go live and die in that paradigm of making a whole career out of being somebody they are not supposed to be. So I did that in motherhood. Some people do that in their careers. Some people dress up and put on a suit of a certain job and all the things that go with that job. Well, I have this job and this is my job title, so I have to act like this and show people this face, and I have to present myself as this, and I have to act like this, and in this type of thing, this is the type of person I'm supposed to be in a relationship with and marry, and this is where I'm supposed to live. And they'll dress themselves up all the way and go through the motions of all those things. I have literally spent time with multimillionaires who built entire lives for themselves based around this crazy paradigm, and who, after all the millions and millions, were like, all I really wanted was like a small house, in the woods, making sculptures, and that's all I've wanted. And and they had to undress, and like the bigger you build up the lie, the longer it takes to unpack it all. And that, in not long meaning time, but the longer like in depth also. Sometimes it's the length is not measured in time, but in depth of how deeply you have to go down and unpack layers and layers. I had to unpack layers of programming that the only way to mother properly was to live in the suburbs and put a college fund, and to do these certain things. That wasn't me. I went from literally being a raver to being a school teacher and trying to wear this hat that wasn't me. And that's why we struggle. Like, we literally take ourselves into struggle just by being who we are not. The struggle comes from us being who we are not. If you're struggling as a single mom, if you're struggling as an unhappy wife or an unhappy husband, if you're struggling as a single father, if you're struggling to wake up, if waking up for your job is a struggle for you, that's not the job for you. You have to at some point admit that to yourself at some point. But we hold it because if we just hold it over there and we just don't admit it to ourselves, we can just get up and grind out another day and hope that something changes on our behalf while we're not looking. But nothing is going to change while we're lying to our own heart. Nothing is going to change. We're going to stay in exactly the same space, doing exactly the same thing, and continually suffering every day. And for me, so I was like circling back around to what I decided for myself. So this 2022, I hear, the end of the year, every year, people always have these memes come out with all these, negative things to say about the year. And, it's not the year that's bad. It's whatever we brought to the year. And sometimes, we have cycles and seasons of our own. Sometimes it's a cycle of growth. Sometimes it's a cycle of development. Sometimes it's a cycle of shedding, and sometimes a cycle of renewal. So sometimes our year is going to look like that, and it's going to be painful. But it isn't the year itself that's doing it to us. It's our biorhythm and how we, our planetary alignments and who we were born as and what we were meant to bring. But every single time, it's possible for us to reset that, to reset the clock, to bring it back down to zero and raise it all and start over again. And let's take that opportunity and do that. And so for me, this year, 2022, for me, was a year of paid partnerships. This was my year to connect with people, to fill myself, to fill my cup, to go back to my zero and go back to my reset, because I reset myself. I got off social media. I went in, I got married, I got into a deep partnership. I reset my finances. I reset my love life. I completely reset all these things over the last few years. And so once I was in a place of fullness with what it is I wanted for myself, it was time for me to reemerge from my personal space back out into the world. And that emerging required me to really go within and understand, who am I now? Okay, so I was bringing to the world from a space of, a priestess, a single mother, moving in a flow of a single woman. And I had actually planned my destiny to be, in this single life, which I had grown into a space of being comfortable with. And so I had this flow and this path that I was planning on working the world in. But as I was clearing out myself and cleansing out myself, all of these blessings kept pouring into my life. And as I picked up these blessings, I became somebody else. And so I had to step back into the world in 2022, okay, wow, that underground, my seed was replanted. I was rebirthed as a new being who is stepping in this journey from a different space than where I had originally intended 3 years ago. And so I had to come out and reconnect with beings and people who helped me remember who I am, who helped me to redefine the space and purpose of what it is that I want to bring to the world. So this year was my year of paid partnerships, my year of redefining my sense of purpose. And so we put a lot into paid partnerships, I went to retreats, I got a business coach, I did things in the world that were about giving value to somebody who was going to give value to me in a very direct and specific way. And for this year coming up, all of the things, all of the abundance that I have picked up from the cycle of solitude that I went through over the past few years, and then stepping back out into the world through these paid partnerships, through these connections, through redefining who it is that I want to show up in the world as, this year coming ahead, I want more personal relationships for myself. I want deeper friendships at the level of the person that I have become. This is a year of, I've set the intention of 2023 being a year of connections for me, being a year of deep bonds of friendship. I've spent, from my single mother trauma, I spent years working and working and working. And even though work has become easier and easier, and I stopped working for somebody in 2018 was the last time I, was working for other people. I've been an entrepreneur, strictly, and since then. And so, but I, in the entrepreneur, I still took, I was a solopreneur, so I still took the single mother trauma of working and working and working so hard just to make ends meet for everybody. And I took that into my entrepreneurship. And so I had to learn my way out of that paradigm. I had to wash away all of that energy, all of that struggle energy, and wash away the guilt that comes with when you don't have to struggle and it doesn't hurt you to earn your living. And then when you first come out of that, a lot of times for a lot of us, there's guilt that's associated with that. So I had to learn my way out of the guilt associated, like, oh my God, I earned money and I didn't have to slave for it. Oh my gosh, do I deserve this? Should I have this? And in here, obviously, I already knew that, and in most of here knew that, but there were shadows. There are shadows in there. There are shadows that have to be cleansed, that have to be opened, that have to be just washed out. All of the elements have to touch you for you to be really purified. Until all have touched you, you are not fully healed or cleansed of whatever it is. So you can put the herbs on it, that's cool. You can change your diet, that's great. But until you put some fire element on it, until you put some air element on it, until you put the other elements, until you put the water element, until you wash it away with all of the elements, there are still shadows in there that need work. So as much as I thought I was there, I was getting it, I was getting the bag, getting the good, everything good. I got the amazing husband, the husband I never even imagined that I could have. Amazing person, perfectly aligned, perfectly resonant with me. Deep best friend bonds, amazing, incredible partnership, fully understanding and connecting on so many levels. I never thought I could get that. I never thought that was would be in alignment with my destiny. And I cleansed out so many shadows, just continually working on those elements. And that came to me, and I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't even asking for that. I was just focused on cleaning out my own shadows and clearing them up and bringing light into all parts of my being. And that was what I got in return. In return for me just focusing on cleansing myself, I got a love, an unimaginable love that I never thought that I could have. I got a level of finance that I never thought that I would get to, and a deeper connection with just the people around me. And so again, circling back for me, so after getting all those things, so I got the prosperity. And then what's the next level? Once you realize that prosperity can be yours, and you don't have to go chase it and try and fight for it and everything. Once you realize that it's yours, it becomes this joyful game that you give yourself to. So I'm not afraid. I was never afraid of shadow work. Even like that, whatever that phrase, that the shadow valley of the shadow of death, I was never afraid. I was always the one to walk into the darkness. I've been deep in darkness. I have gone in the shadow work so deep that I have been sitting in a bathtub with a razor and about to leave. The pain and the darkness were so just almost swallowed me. I have been deeply, I have attempted suicide 5 times in my life, and I cured. People say, oh, you can't cure depression. Yes, you can. I am a living example of that. And the processes, I have so much to say. I can't even give it all in one video. The work that I do is actually sharing out my process. Like that is my gift that I bring to the world, because I know the darkness. Like, I know what it feels like to go in those dark places, in those lonely, deep shadows. I know what it feels like, and I never want anybody to be there. But I got taken through the darkness of the journey, I feel, at this point, so that I could understand the journey for everybody. Like, there's no shadow that I haven't been in. Like, all the experiences, like all the pain, all kinds of trauma. I've literally been through so many kinds of trauma, of physical abuse, sexual abuse, relationship. I've been abused in relationships, abused in childhood. I've had death. My mother died when I was a child. My best friend, after 30 years of friendship, my best friend died. I've been homeless. Like, I have walked through so much darkness, and so for me, it just for my own survival. At points in my life, it was for my own survival. Just to have to fight one more day and have to continue the work was like, I'm either going to not be here, or I'm going to have to face whatever this demon is and cleanse it and heal it and look at it and work through it. And so when I stand up in the light, this is from a place of like triumph. Hey, peace, blessings, G. This is from a place of, like, really of triumph, like a story of waking up to my own power. And it's what I wish for everybody, but also what I know that everybody is capable of. It's literally goes back to, I keep saying literally, sorry. I hate when I keep saying words over and over. But I'm so serious about this. It isn't the space between us and what we want out of life, between us and who we really want to be. The distance is not that far, but it takes going through a darkness, and a lot of people don't want to face that darkness. They don't want to go inside and see that the life that they have been building has been built on a lie, that the beauty that they've been building, that the partner that they chose, that the company they built, that the, anything, whatever aspects of your life that you built, and you're not happy in that space, there's something in there that you built for yourself that was built on a lie. And no, we don't want to go in and be like, oh, I've been living a lie. Here we go. Like, people are getting mad at the government. Oh, the government's lying to us. Society's lying to us. The system is lying to us. But we're lying to ourselves. You can't be lied to when you're living in truth. You can't be lied to. If you're living in your authentic heart, you can't be lied to. You can't believe, Sephora, that you're ugly if you actually are living from your authentic heart. There's nothing more beautiful than smiling eyes and connecting with another person and just laughing with somebody. That's the most beautiful you can get. And joy, coming out with joy from your heart. Sephora can't sell you that. So if you've been in the hype that you have to wear, butterflies stuck to your eyeballs, and that you have to cover your face, and and I got my things. I love adornment. I'm not saying anything against adornment, but if you believe that your beauty, it comes from that adornment, you've been living a lie. If you believe that a beauty, something on the outside of you, or something that you're wearing, something that can be shed from you when you're in the deepest space of your darkness, if you believe that it comes from any of those things, then some piece of you is living a lie. And to go to truth means that you have to first face your own lie, which is radiating out of your own heart, and then you have to clean that out. And in the cleansing process, you will find your truth. You will find your truth in there and realize. So all the things that I was about, I've been, in the last few years working hard. And I had to realize, you're living a lie. You're living a lie you are still believing the trauma of your single motherhood, that you have to like work and slave and drag yourself through in order to be happy. And I had to go through that. So all those years, oh man, these jobs, they don't pay enough. That's us accepting whatever we're given. As soon as I stopped accepting that, everything changed for me. I literally tripled my income I was begging. The last job I have a degree in hospitality management. I was a supervisor in a hotel, and I was begging for a certain amount of money. And as soon as I called in one day, and it was like, if you're not going to give me this amount of money, I'm not coming in today. And I did not know what I was going to do next, but all I knew is that the sound of the discord in my heart was so loud that I could not listen to a job. I could not listen to my children. I couldn't even listen to my own trauma, because before, with that same job and that same level of income, I had lost my home. I had gone through things with my health, and even the sound of my own trauma was more quiet than the sound of how loud my heart was like, you have to do something better than this. You have to do something more than this. So I didn't know what the something more was going to be. All I knew is I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. So I had to break the cycle. And so I called the job and I quit, and I told them, if you're not going to give me the amount that I'm asking for, then consider this conversation my resignation. And they tried to, and I had been going back and forth with HR for like 3 months, begging for more money, just enough to provide for me and my 2 children, just enough. And they kept going around in circles, and then they would give me like a little more, but then cut my hours. Like, it was ridiculous. And I finally my heart had enough, and I had to be true to myself, because I was doing so much work on myself at the time, going through healing. I had been healing. I got brain tumors and everything. I was going through healing brain tumors, and in the process of healing my body from that, all of the other aspects of my life required a level up too. So I got into a space like I healed the brain tumors, but then my whole being was like, yo, you're living a lie. Like, get out of the lie. Like, you're not, this is part of where the brain tumors came from. You're out here pretending to be this, and trying to be this for your children, and you're not being who you need to be for yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Get up, go do something else. And so I had to face it. And it was like, I didn't know what was coming next. So I quit the job, didn't even know it was coming. Literally 3 days later, somebody called me and asked me to do a web design. I used to do web design. I even stopped doing that because I leveled up out of that. But I was doing web design at the time, and I was doing it on the side. It was my little like side project, and I would do make a little extra money out of it. Somebody asked me, and the amount that I got paid for that was worth 3 times the amount that I was taking home on a weekly basis. And I finished the project in a week, and I got the money for it, and I was like, what am I doing? What was I doing all this time? And that led to a recommendation to somebody else, and it just snowballed. It just snowballed and took off from there. So within a week of quitting my job and just following my heart to do what it told me to do, I was working for myself full time and making more money than I had been begging people to provide for me for months and months. And it changed my life. It changed everything. It was the beginning of my level up journey, but it all started with the heart. It all started with me having the courage to go in and say, no matter what life looks like from the outside, I need to honor my own soul, my own journey first and foremost. And then in the process of that, I'm going to just trust. I'm going to trust, because that's sis, you're asking about the process. The process looks like that. It's about trusting what's coming next, and it's about believing that your heart is going to lead you to whatever it is that's for you, because that's the function of the heart. The heart is a GPS. It's going to lead you to whatever is for you. But sometimes we have to drive through the woods or drive over a bridge that's a little scary, that we don't like driving over the rickety bridge. But our heart is always going to guide us to exactly where we're supposed to be. And that was what happened for me. That was exactly how the process happened. But it requires so much courage. When you have people relying on you for income, when you're afraid that you won't be able to feed mouths, or that you won't be able to feed yourself, or that your health is in a place, anything like that, all the issues that we have, that we go through, we put those first. And when the thing is, when we follow our hearts take us to where we're supposed to be. So where we're supposed to be is always going to be a space of joy, a space of abundance, a space of love, a space of nourishing, all the things that we want. Our heart is here to take us to all of that. So if we follow it, we may have to shed things. We may have to shed a partner who is like, we may have a partner who's like, oh, it's okay. Yeah, like, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing particularly wrong. I know people, I have so many friends who and watched friends over the years who were in partnerships with people that they didn't even really love. They're like, love them, but they're not in love with them. And then they're like, well, we're cool. We get along. We got the kids. We could pay the bills. It's fine. But you don't honor your heart by doing what's fine. Your heart isn't here for what's fine and what's acceptable and what's like you can get by. It's here to give you a space of like radiant joy. And that was the thing for me. Even in the darkness, my heart was always reaching. Like, I feel like somewhere in the other side of everything, there's some space where there's radiant joy. Somewhere I feel it. Like, I don't know where it is. I'm patting around in the darkness here like I got blindfolds on, but somewhere out there I can feel it. Like, I know it exists. I've seen it. I've felt it in moments. I know radiant joy exists. Just please, like, how do I get there? How do I get to it? But the process of getting to it is what most people don't want to do. Because first thing is, you got to feel in, you got to tap in. Second part is, you got to like go into the darkness, and you got to shed people and things around you and shake up your life. And the shake up isn't pretty. People don't want you to change because they don't want to change. If you change, that means they have to change even just one thing, because they have to change the nature of their relationship with you. Even if they don't change anything else in their lives, just by having to change the nature of their relationship with you makes them question whatever it is that they believed in. And at some level, it's like a domino effect, because it makes them start to question all of their reality. And most people aren't down for that. They want to avoid that. So rather than have the domino effect of you and your relationship with them, awakening them and reminding them that there's stuff that they need to do for themselves, they would rather cut you off, shut you down, turn the whole process into something else. They would rather do that. So it's shaky and painful and hard to go through these shifts and to make these relationship changes with people, to change a job, to go through stuff that's uncomfortable. There are people walking away from jobs that are making six figures and not knowing what they're going to do, and then they tumble down to making like bare minimum, and then go from there and bounce back up to making millions. But so that the journey isn't, we have to automatically like write into the journey, like pencil it in, it's gonna suck for some time, and just accept that it's gonna suck. And when you accept that, actually from your heart space, like really from your heart space, like when you really begin to show up from your heart and you accept life, and you feel compassion for yourself and for your journey, the deeper you feel it for yourself, the more deeply you feel it for others. So when other people lash out at you because you're not being who they want you to be anymore, when your job looks at you different, when your children look at you different, when your partner looks at you different, when you start to look at yourself differently, just allow for that, and you'll be able to see with compassion into other people and not take their lashing out so personally. People aren't lashing out at you when you change. They're lashing out at their own inability to change and grow with you. And if you can really cleanse your heart into a space where you can accept that the journey is gonna look, excuse my language, but it's gonna look shitty at times, you can actually get into a space of joy with it and play with it. It becomes fun. A lot of this journey, I am my friends who know me the closest, like I am one of the most sarcastic and mean people that everybody knows. But I am like that because this life thing is really a joke. It has become a joke to me. And it is a joke, it's and not a joke in a mean way, in a bad way. It's a joke in a really joyful way. And you know, and I'll make jokes and I'll be so mean sometimes, but it's from this playful space of really, really deeply loving all people and all beings, and recognizing that everybody here is just out struggling along, stumbling along in the forest, trying to, pat down the trees and figure out what's what and get it right. Like, we're all literally here doing the same thing. And when we can accept that, we can have a little more fun with it. It can become a little more playful and a little more positive and a little more happy. And we don't have to, it's not so serious. When we stop taking it all so seriously, it becomes fun and it becomes joyful, and we can start to make this shift and accept it and expect it. When we rebel against the ugly parts, that's when it's painful, because we're fighting. We're so tense and struggling against all the, I want my journey to be linear and fast, like an arrow to just shoot straight to the top without any stops along the way. Like, it doesn't look like that. Nobody's journey to any level of wealth, health, finances, looks, and on no level, relationships, like on no level is the journey ever a straight line straight to the top, ever. If it was, anybody's journey who goes in a straight line straight to the top without any, like, completely smooth, is because there's a huge dip coming after that. That is because we came to Earth to learn. We came to Earth to expand and to understand. And the lessons are in the pain, in the shifts, in the overcoming. And so if there's nothing to overcome, if there are no challenges, if there's no opposition, there is no growth. There literally isn't any growth without those things. So if we write those things into the process, if we write those things into the script and expect them to be there, expect and understand them and understand their places, then we can really start to have fun with these things. And the more we have fun, the more we cleanse the heart space and begin to have fun with these things, the more joy we get out of the journey, and the more wealth and abundance and prosperity that we actually feel. Because literally at this point, and that's the last time I'm going to say literally, I swear to myself, at this point in our journey, we have to recognize that, like, wealth is everything. Wealth isn't a dollar amount, because that means otherwise every millionaire would be happy, every billionaire would be happy, and they go through the same stuff. They have health stuff just like us. They have relationship stuff just like us. They have personal trauma. They have tragedy. Everybody goes through stuff. So it's not the dollar amount that's fixing it. Wealth is about you living a life that looks exactly how you want it to look. And the only way to be wealthy is to have a clean heart and to be fully empowered and to actually believe that anything that you want to make your reality, that you can actually make that your reality. The difference between people who are financially wealthy and between people who are not is that they have already shown themselves and proven to themselves that they have the capacity to draw and to magnetize things into their life experience that they want to have in their life. So personal power is already written into their personal story. So whatever means that you need to prove your personal power to yourself, tap into those somewhere in your existence. If you're still breathing right now, and that means you have some degree of wealth, you have some degree of personal power, because you have continued through all of the challenges that you have faced up until this point. You have continued to be here. So that means that you have enough power to expand and continue. It just means about tapping in and cleaning that space and developing a level of where you are so connected that you can actually transform the wishes that come from here into and manifest them into physical reality. So let's do it. Let's make it happen. So I'm late for work. My husband and I have stuff going on here, and so we've got to go and help him out. But I am gonna go ahead and do this meditation with you guys. I'm in the car. I didn't go upstairs, so I'm gonna try to make this work from here. But let's tap in. Let me see if I can. try to maneuver myself around in here so that we can do this together. Let me try to turn this around. Okay, if I put this over here, maybe that'll work. Okay. All right, so we're going to do our heart meditation. And I want to just thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening and for connecting with this. You know, this is like, there's a real movement of the heart that is taking place all over the world. You know, all of us who are connecting with it are just tapping into something that's greater than us, that has already called us to it. And as a person who went through so much trauma in my life, who was so disconnected from my own sense of self through, you know, childhood sexual abuse, through childhood physical abuse, through, you know, the death of a parent. I ran away from home when I was 16. I encountered all kinds of craziness out in the world, in the streets, trying to figure out my way through life, and was constantly getting hammered by believing in the world, believing in goodness, believing in the goodness of humanity, and then going out and encountering other things, because my soul and my mind knew that, you know, humanity is good as a whole, but my heart was broken and damaged from my childhood experiences. And as much as my soul and my mind knew that the world is a good place, what resonated out to the world and what drew me to the experiences that I had out in the world was the damaged heart frequency. And so I continued to chase damaged heart frequency type experiences, and then had to continually cleanse them out until it became like a process where I learned how to not only detox my heart through many means, not just through yoga like we're doing now, but to detox my heart and cleanse myself. But then also, as I would do that at a deeper level, so it became not just about like repairing my heart from some damage that it was in. It was about building my heart into something bigger and better than it was, something that bigger than before the damage. And then coming into this space now and recognizing that the farther I went along this journey of heart purification, of heart cleansing, that was leading me to greater and greater wealth in my life, in my personal relationships, in my finances, in my health, in other areas. Like they're connected. They're not just connected, they are intrinsic to each other. Your ability to live a prosperous life is intrinsically connected to your heart space and to how damaged or how pure and full and happy that it is. So the first thing is first, cleanse this out, cleanse out the wounds, stop reacting to life from your wounds, and cleanse out. And then when you start responding to life from a place of joy, from a place of connection to others, when you stop seeing people as opposition, as enemies, as people out to get you, and you realize that everybody's just out here having their own process, like it's not about you, it's just people out here having their own process. And because we're human, because we incarnated into human bodies, we're out here rubbing up against other beings who are working through their process too. That's how it goes. Like, this is how we learn. If we were out here as amoebas, we would come in here and leave here. If we were like a solitary wolf or, you know, some sort of lone creature, incarnating our spirit into solitary beings does not give us the chance for the type of spirit growth that we incarnated into human bodies to experience. So there's a reason. So when our human relationships hurt us and damage us, recognize that they have a function. Even through the pain, there is a function of being incarnated into a human body and having to deal with and learn through human relationships, and accept that for what it is, and then allow that and cleanse it. So let's get to it. Like I said, I always say something and then I keep talking again. So let's get in here. Let's go ahead and do our heart space. So just let's tune in, and thank you all. Thank you for being here. And excuse, you know, what we're working with today, that it's in the car. I'd rather show up in the car than not at all. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So let me take off the sunglasses, put our hands on our heart space. And so for anybody, if you have not tapped into this, I'm sorry if you can't see me all the way, but the right hand is going to go next to your side, and you're going to have your right palm facing forward. Left hand goes here in front of your heart, and we're going to chant from there, okay? So let me see if I can slide my seat back so that I can be as much in this as possible. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. You arrived just in time for the heart meditation. So, okay, so hand goes in here. Let me see. I wonder if, oh, you know what? Maybe if I set it here. No, let me see. Where can I put this where you guys can see me? Okay, give me 1 second to try to get this right. If it doesn't work, then we'll go back to how we were. But I want, just in case anybody is tuning in for the first time, I do want you to be able to see me. Let me see how that goes there, like that. Oh, yeah, I think that's not gonna work. Oh no, maybe it is. Okay. It's like we might have it. No, it's gonna fall over. All right, I should have just stuck with where I was. But I didn't. Let me see. And you know, while I'm fooling around with my technology here, you guys go ahead and just tap into your own heart space and put your hand on your heart. Just breathe into your heart space and start setting the intention of what it is that you want out of this heart meditation, what you want. Whether you're on day 22 with me and with everybody who has been joining the whole time, or whether this is your first time tuning in, start to connect with what you want for your heart. What do you want? What do you want to bring to the world? What do you want to bring to yourself? What things do you want to manifest that will bring you the most joy? And start to focus on those and start to pour those into your heart space. Turn this down a little bit. And just take a few slow, deep breaths. And inhale up and just draw the breath up over the crown. And just draw green light up through the crown and down your spine. Deep green, like an electric green light. And bring that light back up and around down the root. And inhale it back up into your heart. So draw it up the front of your body and bring it up. So we have a circle of like electric green light that is circulating around our body this way. Up from the heart space, up through the throat, through the first eye, out the crown, and then exhaling down the spine, down the spine to the tailbone, to the root, and then inhaling up through the sacral, through the pelvis, up through the belly, and back up to the heart. And then just inhale deep green light. Just fill your whole heart space. And remember that the heart has this electromagnetic frequency that spins this way, like a record player. It spins around. There's an actual frequency field that goes around this way from the heart. And just fill that resonant frequency, fill that space with that green light, and just hold that and make a circle around your heart. And just feed yourself. Feed yourself, nourish yourself with all of the things that you want to be and do and have. And fill your heart space with those things without the mental chatter of like, oh, I'll never get it, I'll never have it, I'll never be that. Fill your heart with those things. There, hopefully I can make this stay. I should have pulled this up, but I did. There, let me see. There. And then now we're going to go ahead and bring the hand up. So the right hand goes up and comes down here, and the left hand goes in front of the heart. All right, so I'm going to begin, and we're going to do this chant. So we inhale back, and then we move the hand. So we'll start out like 4 to 6 inches in front of your heart, another 4 to 6 inches out, and then another 4 to 6 inches. And we chant Tum Ta Ru. Tum Ta Ru. Okay? Tum Ta Ru. And inhale back, and make sure your spine is nice and tall, throat is open, and your crown is lifted. And deep breath in, and let's go ahead. Tum Ta Ru. 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 One more. Tum Ta Ru. Deep breath in and pull your hand back to your heart. And purify your intention and simplify your intention. You don't have to make life complicated. Just show up as yourself. Just ask and put the intention. If there is no other purpose, no other feeling, nothing else that you can reach for, nothing else you're quite sure of, just ask to show up as your authentic self. And then exhale fully through your mouth. car, the extra things, the accoutrements that make you believe that you need those around you to show people that you're worthy. None of those things are what you need to show people that you're worthy. Exhale all of that. If you buy certain clothes, as you develop your finances, as you step into wealth and you look around you and you think, well, all the wealthy people around me are doing this, so therefore I have to do that too. I have to show up with these clothes and these shoes and this type of car in order to be with them in their space. Show up as yourself. Show up as how the world receives you. And be prepared. Accept that everybody won't receive you. Everybody can only receive you to the level of their own heart openness too. But when you show up from your real heart, you give other people the permission to show up as their real selves too. A lot of people were all holding our breaths and waiting for the first person to raise their hand and be like, I'm tired of doing this. And then everyone's like, oh my God, so am I, and so when we show up real, we allow other people to do the same. Show up as your real day. I jumped on here. I got on this live. I was sick. I was still in bed. I showed up with no makeup, no jewelry, my hair raggedy, and my pajamas on. And I showed up to do the heart meditation with you all as my real self. I would not have been able to do that a year ago, 6 months ago even. I would not have been able to do that. I constantly had this voice of self-criticism that was part of my own childhood trauma of how I was raised. I constantly had this energy of self-criticism that the world is not going to receive me right unless I look a certain way, that if I'm not this way, if I'm not feminine or sexy or all those things, then people won't receive me. People, all the pretty women people can be looking at on Instagram that are getting 26,000 likes just for showing up in their underwear, that who's going to look at me when I'm showing up to talk about things that have value? Nobody's looking at that. People are scrolling past that because they want to just see somebody who's sexy. Who's going to look at me? And so I let all of those voices dilute me showing up from my heart, and I stopped showing up, and I got so lost in my own habits of not showing up because of those things that I stopped showing up. So for me, that was a massive breakthrough. That was a laugh for me yesterday, to show up sick with eye bags and a scratchy throat and raggedy hair in my pajamas with no jewelry and no anything on, to show up in front of the world and just to have nothing to offer except my actual heart. and to know and to laugh at my own journey, because there was a point when I couldn't even do that. And now I'm like, who cares? Like when I was sitting there yesterday, I was like, I don't care. I don't care. My voice is still scratchy today. I'm still not all the way better. There was a point when I wasn't showing up in the world as a healer, as a health coach for all these years. I've been a health coach longer than I was a success coach. As a healer, I was like, oh, I can't show up sick. People are going to be like, oh, how do you get sick? I thought you knew all the ways to heal yourself. But no, we can get sick. We can. I am human. I am in a human body. All of the things that happen to humans in a human body can happen to me too. I don't care how many years of healing and teaching and learning and priestessing and everything. You will still be alive in a human body, in a human space. Give yourself the permission to show up as you are. I have an amazing marriage. I have an incredible marriage. We are amazing together. But there are times when we show up ugly to each other and we have to like, oops, and forgive it and let it go. It is okay to show up as you are. It is okay to show up ugly. When you're really coming from your authentic heart space, you will start to appreciate and accept your own ugliness, and you will be okay with other people's ugliness, and learn how to not take their ugliness personally. Even when it is personally directed at you or appears to be, it is not about you. Most of the time, 99% of the time, it is not about you. So just if you give nothing else today, give the intention in your heart to show up fully, as your real self. Whatever mask you usually wear to make yourself appear larger than you believe you are, take that mask off just for today, just for this week, if you can, and show up as your real self and see how you're received. If people receive you as your real self, then you can exhale. Just like this exhaling breath we do now. Exhale and show up. Like let go all of the stress and the worry and the extra time that we pour into putting on all this extra stuff so that the world receives us in a way that we think they need to see. Usually isn't how we even need to show up. Show up with just your smile today. Show up with just your heart. And see how far that takes you, because that'll teach you not only about yourself, but it'll teach you about the space of who you're around. If you show up with a smile and a laugh and a sense of connection to others, and people are like, "What are you doing?" and they get weird with you, those are not your people. That's how you start weeding out. The first space that the heart has to go through as it goes through a detox is to start weeding out all of the beings and people who do not belong in your life, who do not deserve to be in your life. When you live an authentic, heart-centered life, there are beings and people who do not deserve to be in your space. And so it'll be time to let them go. But first, they'll have to be called up and you'll have to see who they are. And the only way to see who they are is to show up as your real self. That's how that will start to show. They will start to show themselves, I promise you. So just exhale. One more deep breath in and exhale. And then just bring the arms up. I'm not going to be able to do it with you this time because I'm in the car, but you're going to bring your arms all the way up into a Y position. If you have not seen this before, then watch my other videos, all 21 days that came before today, and just to see how it's done so that you can learn how to close out this meditation. I'm going to keep my hands over my heart space for this one, but if you remember what to do, hands go up here, thumbs up, and the arms go up in a Y shape, so that you have the energy like pouring down from your arms down into your heart space. And we're going to do the fire breath. So I'm going to do the fire breath from this position since my space is limited. So we're going to go ahead, deep breath in, and hold that intention of reality, of truth, of authenticity into your heart. And let's go ahead and begin. deep breath in and hold. And exhale through your mouth. Purified. May the fire release everything that no longer serves you. May this new year coming up, this turn of the year, wash away everything that no longer holds value and holds space in your life. And may the next inhale, may the next breath of the wheel of the year that's coming in, draw in everything that you want to manifest into your space. May all of that come to you and be there for you, to nourish you and support you and guide you, and to bless your journey, to make your life a joyous and abundant one. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Now, if you have time, I invite you to just lie down. Sit back, lie down. I always tell people, I'm usually sitting in the mat or in the bed or in the house, and telling people, if you're in the car, don't do this, but I'm in the car. So if you're sitting, if you're somewhere where you can only sit, if you're somewhere standing and you can only stand, just give yourself at least 1 full minute of just total silence, where you just inhale and exhale your breath back to normal, and just tune into your heart, and just allow your heart and the new frequency that it's resonating. You have 30 trillion cells, and they are all functioning in their own biorhythm. And to get them aligned on the same page as your heart frequency, it requires you to just go into silence for just a moment. Just allow your whole body to relax. Relax your face, your head, your neck, your shoulders. Inhale and then exhale and relax your arms, relax your hands, relax your chest and your stomach. Relax your back, your upper and lower. Relax your butt, your hips, your thighs. Relax your knees. Inhale and relax your calves, your shins, your ankles. Relax your feet. And continue to exhale. Release and shed all the energy that no longer serves you. And with each inhale, just fill yourself with the presence and connection to who it is that you want to be, who it is you want to show up for. Show up as yourself. How do you want to show up in the world? Inhale that with each breath. And with each exhale, shed everything that you don't need anymore. Now I'm going to jump off because it is time for me to get to my works. I am so grateful to you all. Peace, Charlie! Charlie! Peace to everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful to all of you for sharing this space with me. And I wish you a blessed day. I hope that you guys are having a joyful winter wherever you are. I'm out here in beautiful Miami, so it is, I don't know, it's in the 70s right now. This is what I'm wearing to step outside, so as you could tell. So because I designed this life on purpose, I do not like cold, so my heart took me to Florida. I wish for you all to design the life that you want, that serves you in your highest good and your purpose. Thank you, sis. Thank you. So grateful to you.